My next guest, Dave Stryzewski. Dave, thanks for being on. What a difference 10 days makes. I mean, what's going on?
Well, I mean, 10 days ago, we ultimately were sitting here talking about an assassination attempt, which would have probably caused Civil War II. That would have been a terrible news cycle. But, you know, over the last couple of weeks here, we've just watched a lot of this data deteriorate, just like you've noted. So this is the weakest strong economy that many are out there just touting as though this is going to continue on forever. I mean, I vote the market goes up forever. Reality is what goes up ultimately comes down. And I think that your viewers are intelligent enough to recognize some of that, especially as we're looking at those revisions, as you noted. I mean, we had 730,000 extra jobs that were noted in our 2023 unemployment numbers. I mean, 730,000. How can the Fed be so consistently inaccurate, yet keep their job, keep their credibility? And so, you know, many of us are questioning that credibility at this point in time. And as we see more of this data continue to roll out here, you know, it's my opinion that the Fed is behind the economic curve right now. And just like they were behind the inflation curve back in 21 and 22, late to the party.
Well, you're exactly right. And I would throw into the mix this, you know, a lot of these government institutions have been polluted. I don't know, by, you know, maybe by lesser individuals, whomever, but, you know, they're all three-letter acronyms, right? FBI, SEC, IRS, WHO, CDC. You could throw FED in there too, because they have seriously dropped the ball. And I come from this viewpoint that I have the burden of common sense, right? It's just so commonsensical to me to take a look at all the numbers that we've been getting for the last 18 months. I'm going to talk about this with Jim Urio next, so I don't want to take a lot of his thunder away. But I think I'm the only person in the room that's not surprised by this, because you know what? All the signs are there. When you have McDonald's reporting misses, or you've got some, you know, what's Red Lobster filing for bankruptcy. I mean, some of these institutions that never had any problems before, and all of a sudden, in 3 days' time, we've gone into a recession where these people have been blissfully whistling by the graveyard. It almost makes me angry, Dave.
Scott, I agree. I mean, three-letter agencies. Here's a four-letter agency, NBER, who, of course, affects our agency, our world. I mean, they're the ones that tell us whether we're in a recession or not. You know, you and I grew up with Webster's definitions of what a recession was: 2 negative quarters of GDP, which, of course, happened in Q1 and Q2 of 2022. You know, the NBER doesn't even, you know, tell us that we're in a recession. But like a year later, after it happens, you talk about some of those appointed officials. Currently, 100% of the NBER board members were appointed by President Obama. So if we're in an election year, I think that they may be more swayed to kind of go with the incumbent here. And that's why, you know, this is sort of like a weird year. Is the market up? Is it going to have all this negative data really catch up and cause the cracking? And just like you noted here, we're seeing some capitulation. And I think this is the second phase of really a pullback right now. And so capitulation, or the second phase, is where people are just like, okay, I'm done. I think a lot of folks here today, though, are going to be buying dips, and you know, for a certain percentage of their portfolio. I can't say that that's the wrong idea on some level, but my goodness, if we don't have the right brakes in place, if we don't have the right defense in place right now, I'm just very worried that we're heading down a road here. We might be getting close to a cliff's edge, and the average consumer right now is not aware of the real data. They're not aware of the real things, like even these unemployment numbers. You know, President Biden has been going around talking about, you know, 15.8 million jobs that he's added, when really it's only been 6.4 million new jobs since February of 2020. Everything else was just, you know, putting people back to work that, you know, had a job and were unemployed for that short time frame.
I call those reinstatement jobs, right? Yeah, I mean, that's not a new job. Yeah, so I think there's negative, ominous signs. I don't want to be Debbie Downer or Chicken Little, right? But you have to be aware of them, or you could get caught up. I think that's where you were going with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, here's one that I'll just note, and I don't think many people are paying attention to. You know, here's the question: how were jobs added, but at the same time unemployment rose? Because those who are counted for unemployment are legal citizens of the United States. We are currently looking at 10 million illegals that have come into our nation. And what's interesting is that we have a statistic now, just came out today, this administration, 1.2 million native-born Americans have lost their employment over the last 1 year, while 1.3 million illegals have taken those jobs. Yep. And others. Yeah. And so this is a very, very negative trend for the average consumer. And where a lot of these jobs going, these are going to inner city places. So we've got inner cities, which are already by definition disadvantaged, now having to compete with illegals that are willing to work. They're hungry. They're going to do it for less. This is a disaster to the inner cities, to the middle class, to where we are right now. And I can tell you a lot of the clients and families that we work with are having a difficult time finding those jobs.
I can imagine. All I can say to you, David, is other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? I mean, it's like, it's bad. It's bad stuff. All right. Try to have a good weekend on the back of that. Thank you very much, David.
Yes, sir.